Hello and welcome everyone to our last scheduled feature focus, which started back in 2022 with me as your host. And in today's installment, we're going to be looking at dashboards, how we can use them to visualize, analyze, and report on our project data. So if you have some reporting deadlines coming up, or you would just like to know maybe how best to see your data in a new light, well, then do stay tuned because that is what we're going to be covering today. So as usual, I would highly recommend that you open up maybe a new tab, a new browser, have Tola data open so that when we come to the demo portion today that you can follow along with some tips and tricks that I've got put together for you. And today's agenda is going to be just like in our previous videos, where we start off with our little presentation on the feature that we're going to be covering. We're going to have a demo, of course, which will do the deep dive into all things dashboards in this case today. And finally, we'll have a Q&A session at the very end. So if you have any questions that you have had for a while that you need to ask one Tola data expert, or maybe some that pop up over the course of the video, well then feel free to write them down, hold them, and then I will be happy to answer them at the end for you. So we have a fair amount to cover for today. So I'm going to actually maybe jump straight into the presentation and get started. So very briefly, at this point, I'm sure you definitely know what the feature focus is, but maybe just to reiterate the point of the feature focus, it was a series of short live streams that provided a deep dive into Tola data one feature at a time. And the goal was to allow you to become a Tola data expert for free, session by session. And I really hope that by the end of all of these videos, if you've been following along, that you feel empowered and familiar with the platform so that you can use all of our different and powerful features. But as we are always ever growing, we want to incorporate new, exciting tools that are required by the M&E sector. There will definitely be more that come on the horizon that we haven't just scheduled yet. So keep your eyes peeled because we have new developments coming in all the time. So every few months, be aware that there is going to be a new feature focus coming out. So you'll need to stay up to date with all that is Tola data. So as I mentioned, we're going to be covering the dashboards today. So what does the dashboard feature do in a nutshell? So the dashboard feature serves many purposes, but if we're going to really condense it down, I would say they have these two main purposes. The first of which is to allow you to visualize your impact. So it allows you to have a space where you can consolidate all of your data from an individual project or maybe multiple projects if you have them, and it allows you then to be able to see the real-time impact and the insight from this data. And then on the other hand, what this allows you to do is it allows you to share this impact, not only maybe with your internal team, maybe your internal organization, but also with those that are external. Maybe these are stakeholders or donors, and you can share them using this URL that you can share online. And you can use these dashboards also for easy reporting. So that's effectively what it does in a nutshell, but you'll see in a moment that it can serve also many other different purposes. So what part of the Tola data application does this feature sit in? So if you have the Tola data account open in a separate tab, you'll be able to locate it if you head over to the navigation panel. Now, if you see this first line here, this horizontal line that's highlighted in orange, this serves as the navigation panel or the broken down version of the navigation panel. And if you see on the last circle, it's actually highlighted in blue here. It says dashboards, and I have this in a green box highlighted. If you look at your navigation panel and look toward the bottom of the navigation panel, you should see the term dashboards there at the bottom. So if you click on that section there, you'll be then directed to it. And within this feature, this is where you're going to be adding your dashboard, adding your graphs and charts, text and images, and sharing this with the world essentially. So this is where it essentially sits within the framework of Tola data. Now, why was this feature created? There are plenty of different reasons that it was created, and I'll highlight 5 for you here. So the first of which was to reduce the stress around reporting season. It can be really, really stressful and a pressurized environment when it comes to reporting. Maybe if you have like stacks of data that haven't been processed in months and you have to jump into this sort of data jungle and bring it together to make something possible for your donors and your stakeholders. But by using the Tola Data platform, what this enables you to do is you have a very organized place for all of your data. And then when it comes to reporting for your dashboards, with the click of a button, you can generate beautiful dashboards. You can have really nice graphs to show off all of your amazing results. And also you can ahead of time create some results and templates so that when it comes to the reporting season or the reporting deadline, it really doesn't take that much then to generate them. So this will save you time and it will save you a lot of emotional draining stress. The second point here is to be able to see data from a different perspective. When working on your projects and adding to your indicators, it can just happen that you are not able to really see this data from any other angle. But by using the dashboards, what you're able to do is you're able to see things from a different perspective. So the dashboards can be an opportunity for you to perhaps look into the data, maybe with a specific view in mind. Maybe you want to see what the gender perspective of your data is, maybe how your programs affect different age groups. And the dashboards, again, is a fantastic opportunity for you to consolidate the data all together and to be able to cut through the data with a particular view in mind to gain the most insight and to really maximize the value of the data that you've collected, and I'm sure through a lot of difficulty. Now, thirdly, you are able to use this feature to tailor the results for your audience. Now, it is very common that for organizations, you don't have one donor, but you might have many, and that also goes for stakeholders. And all of these will have varying needs and requirements. So that is why there's no general dashboard that you have on the platform, although you could make that, but you can also use the platform to curate and have specially designed dashboards for each individual donor. And that means you could have maybe their logo, their body logo on there. You could have their specific requirements on there for you, of course, and even have their styles or colors applied to your dashboard. So they have a very special dashboard to themselves and they can see exactly the information that they need to view. Fourthly, you can use the dashboards as a means to respond to the growing need for transparency. It is becoming ever more important that your donors and stakeholders are able to keep up to date with all of the data that's coming from your project. And it's very difficult to juggle, I'm sure, many of your different roles to then also having to update all of your stakeholders and donors with any new changes that have been made. But through the Tola Data platform, you're able to put together dashboards that update in real time. So that means that you can focus on doing the work, updating these indicators, and your stakeholders and donors will be able to view the most updated information. And then finally, and very importantly, the dashboards will allow you to open the lines of communication with stakeholders. Oftentimes, it's only really at the end of the M&E cycle that they're able to view all of the amazing work that you've done. But what this will enable you to do is allow you to open up this communication with them, to allow your stakeholders to see up-to-date information and to help them feel more invested and cultivate a stronger relationship with them so that you can work together and collaborate in a more meaningful and powerful way. So now we're on to the demo portion. So this is sort of a brief agenda of what we'll be covering today. We'll first do it by setting up a dashboard, super simple. We'll then look into configuring the different widget types. Now, widgets are essentially the tool that we're going to be using to display different types of information for your report. So this can be qualitative information, quantitative, maybe geographical, and also budget. We'll thirdly show you how you can customize your dashboard to suit these different types of audiences. And finally, how to share these dashboards. So whether this is going to be internally with your team or externally with stakeholders and donors. So without further ado, I'm going to bring you over now to the Tola Data platform. So I'll be sharing my screen. So bear with me one moment. So right now you're seeing the Tola Data home screen. And as I mentioned just in a few slides previous, we're going to be now accessing the dashboard section. So if you have a look over here on the left-hand side, you'll see the navigation panel. And if you head down towards the bottom, you can click on Dashboards. And there is where we're going to be setting it up. Now to add a new dashboard, what you'll be doing is you'll be looking for the green button that says Add New Dashboard, and that's up here on the right-hand side. Once you've clicked it, you'll be invited to input a name for your dashboard and a description. Oftentimes people will just put in the name, and this is going to be maybe the report you're going to use it for, or maybe the theme that you're using to look at the data. So today I'm simply going to use it for reporting. So let's say this is going to be my TOLA data annual report. And for my description here, I'm just going to say that this dashboard is just to highlight real-time insights of our impact this year. So once I'm happy with the name and the description, I'm going to save the dashboard. Now, once you've created your dashboard, you'll notice that there's nothing in there just yet. But fear not, that's what we'll be covering today. And you have a series of different tabs that are available to you here. Now we're currently on the dashboard tab, and this is where all of the data and all of the different charts and qualitative information will be put up. But we have other tabs here as well. So the details tab here is where you can modify the name that you just inputted, or the description as well if you want to change it. Under the setting tab, this is where you share the information, or you share the dashboard either internally or externally. I will go into more detail with this later. The fourth tab here is styles. Under this tab is where you can apply a specific style to your dashboard, so you can change the color of your dashboard in an instant. And again, I'll go through this a bit later on, but these are very cool, especially for customizing for specific stakeholders or donors. And finally, you have the team tab. So if you and maybe your other colleagues are reporting together, you can use this tab to add them and collaborate with them together on making really amazing dashboards. So that's a brief overview of the different tabs that you've seen there. So we're going to head back now to the dashboard tab here, as this is where we're going to be putting together our little report. So what we need to do to create a dashboard is to add a widget. And as I mentioned, widgets are the building blocks of your report, and there's different types of widgets that are available. So to add a widget, what we're going to do is look for the Add Widget button, which is over here on the right-hand side. A pop-up once more will appear, and it will ask what type of widget do you want to generate. So if I click on this drop-down menu here under widget category, you'll see the 4 main types of widgets that we offer. So the first of which is text and image. For me, these are the framework or the skeleton of my report. They help me put up, the title of the report, maybe to break down this report into different sections. I can also use this to put in a lot of qualitative information, background, contextual information. I can put it for a report, anything, you name it. I can use it for linking things. So these are really highly useful as sort of the template, the background of your report, and often also what people use for their logos and images. The next type is project indicators, and these are essentially the widgets that you're going to be using to present your results. So these are all the charts and graphs, line graphs, etc., that you'll use to reflect and present the information. So you'll be definitely heavily using these too. The third one is map data, and this is what you'll be using if you want to show off the geographical coordinates of certain projects. So you'll be able to show maybe the communities in which you're working, maybe the affected area. This is essentially what you'll be using that for, and it'll be displayed on a really nice Google Maps map. And then finally, we have budget data. And this reflects all of the budget information that was put in the activity section, because this is where you create your budget. So by clicking on this button, you'll be able to show off either the whole project budget, or maybe even if you want to show specific activity budgets, you can do that as well. So in today's session, I'm going to be doing at least one of each, and for project indicators, I'll be doing a few different types because there's a lot of different ways you can display the information. So to start off with, I'm going to look at making a text and image widget. So I can do that simply by clicking text and image and inputting a widget title. So let's say total data um, uh, Once you've added your name and you've selected your widget type, you'll be brought over to the widget generator here. And there you're going to be able to modify the widget title. You'll be able to enter a description. And you'll also have the option either to keep it hidden, or you can show the description under the title once you've generated the widget. Then down below, you have an area here which is called content. And this is where you're going to be inputting your logo, or you're going to be inputting some qualitative data. So I'm going to input an image here by clicking on this picture. And I'm going to click on the total data image here. And then maybe I'll also add some qualitative information as well below. And using this qualitative information, you can change the format, or rather by using these tools that are up here, you can change the format if you'd like. I'd like to change the heading down below here to be a bit more poppy. And then further down, you can see that there are settings here to allow you to resize the image width automatically when you create the widget. And this just helps that if you have a particularly large widget or a particularly small widget that you've, image that you've linked to the content here, that the system will recognize that it's either very big or very small, and it'll try and resize it for you so that it is correct. Then you also have the option here to lock the widget position or lock the widget size. And what this essentially does is this ensures that if you're perhaps maybe collaborating with a lot of people and you just want to make sure that this widget stays in the positioning and the size that it is, you can use these settings to ensure that no one can change them by accident. So once you click save, you'll see that it then emerges here, and you can expand it here to the size that you want. Now, so that was a quick overview of how to create a text and image widget. Now let's see what we can do now for project indicators. So once more, I'll click on Add New Widget. I'll select this next type, Project Indicators. And I will also now add a widget title. Let's just say Percentage Achieved. So in this widget, what I want to do is I want to show off several different types of indicators and the percentage that they have achieved so far. So I'll click Save. And in this widget generator, we again will be able to change the widget title and description, but we have a new section that's available to us now, which is Charts and Orientation. And it is here that you're going to select the type of charts that you want to use. So these essentially serve different purposes. The first two, for example, these allow you to show off your actual results against targets. The first one of which allows you to show your actual results against your end of project targets. You have the second one here that allows you to show your actuals against intermediate targets. There's time-based results ones here that allow you to show results according to the date that you collected them, by specific periods that you applied to them, maybe to see what the percentage of these actuals were over time. We have ones for disaggregated results, so to allow you to see the breakdown of your results, and also the status of selected indicators. So when you're inputting data into your indicators, users can also assign a status to this, so that for managers needing to have a look at the indicator plan, they can see immediately if results have been achieved, or if there's been delays, or partially achieved, etc. So that is what that will reflect. So I'm going to give you an example here with maybe overall targets. So if I click here, you'll see that we have a huge variety of different charts that we can use. So if you scroll down here, we have two main sections. So one of which will show you just the actuals directly against the targets. And then the others will give you the percentage achieved. So how much of the target have you achieved through your actuals, essentially. The first row here gives you the stacked bar options. So you can either have this on a horizontal or a vertical axis. Then down below you have the grouped bars, and this allows you to see one bar, for example, for actuals, one for targets, instead of in the stacked case you have actuals and targets stacked on top of each other. So I'll just use a very simple example here. I'm going to stay on stacked horizontal. And then now when it comes to choosing what indicators I want to use, I'm going to scroll further down under the heading data source. So this is where you're going to be picking out the data that you want to use. So the first thing you're going to have to do is select the project from which you want to pull the information. So let's say I want to pull it from this one, Humanitarian Health Project. And over here, I'm going to use this section to select the indicators I want to use. So let's say I want to see the number of participants, number of students enrolled. And if I'm happy with that, what I can do is I can add the indicators to list. So they will appear in this list below. So I'll click and add them here. Now, the reason that we have this additional step of adding them to a list is because you can actually pick not only from one project, but you can pick from a few. So just to show you this, I can maybe pick from another project. So let's say number of participants trained in biodiversity, and we'll update that list. So we have our few indicators there. And then you'll see that there's a few configuration options that you can use here to further customize the chart. So the first of which is to say, or to allow you to show the targets or not to show the targets. So maybe you just want to show off the actuals and you don't want to include the targets. It's in that case that you'll click it. Then you have the option to show an indicator key. And what that would be, if you click on it, it would just be a little index at the bottom to highlight to whoever is viewing it which indicator is linked to which bar chart. Then below that we have filtering data by date range. Maybe you want to specifically show off the data from a time period over several different months. You can use this to define when the beginning and when the end of this result was. And then finally we have show project under title. So this would just allow you to show from where you gathered this information. So once you're happy with the indicators that you've selected, you can click Save. And you'll see that immediately these are generated. So for the first two here, we can see a lot of the actuals have been achieved, almost all. And then in the final one here, we have some missing data. So this is something that I can go and check upon to see maybe if there hasn't been anything collected so far. So that would be how you'd generate one type of chart and graph. Now I want to look at maybe a different type, such as disaggregation, how you could put that one together. So in order to do that, I'm going to head back and click on Add New Widget. I'm going to select the widget category, Project Indicators, and let's just say we want to see the disaggregated results. So if I look down here, I'm going to head back to the Charts and Orientation section, and I'm going to look for the disaggregated results widget type. And once I click on there, you'll see again, there's many different configurations that I can avail of. So as you can see, you can have charts that show off one disaggregation type with one indicator. You can have one disaggregation type and see it across multiple indicators, or even to see multiple disaggregation types against one indicator. So already a lot of different ways to view this information. And then further down below, you have even more graphs you can use to display and visualize that info. So for today, I'll keep it simple and we'll see what one disaggregation type looks like with one indicator. And I'll see what that looks like on a pie chart. Now, once more, we're going to have to go down toward the bottom and select the data source or where we want to pull this information. So we're going to select our project. and we're going to select our indicator. And then we're going to be selecting our disaggregation type. Pardon me. So let's say gender. Then you have options here to show unclassified values. So this is the data that hasn't been either inputted into a specific disaggregation or breakdown. And you can also show the project under title as well. And then you can click Save. And your new bar chart has been generated. Now I will do one final one for project results, and I'm going to be using it to show the status of multiple different indicators. So once more, we'll have to add new widget. We'll do project indicators, and we'll look at indicator status. Scroll down once more to charts and orientation, and this time we'll select the widget type, status of selected indicators. We'll look for our data source, and we'll click on the indicators we want to reflect the status of. I'll add a few here just so you can see what that might look like. Perfect. So we'll add indicators to our list and click Save. And when new widgets are added, you'll find them toward the bottom of the page here. Now you can resize these, of course, and move them around. So that was a few examples of how to generate some project results widgets. We're now going to be looking at how to generate a map to show off the geographical coordinates. So we're going to add new widget and now look at map data. And there we might say affected area as our widget title and click Save. Once more, we'll scroll through. Again, you can modify the widget title, add a description, and you'll see that it is already configured here to be locked into Project Connected Map. So all we have to do in this case is just select simply which project we want to take the map from. So we'll just select the project that we have in mind. Let's say the one we've been currently using, Humanitarian Health Project. And you'll see you'll get a preview already of the area that is going to be used in this map. And what you can do at this stage is you can define exactly what the widget will show. So it's giving already a very nice overview of where the affected area is, but if you want it to be more precise, or if you wanted to focus in on the specific area, when people view it, say if you want it up this close, if you save it now, the dashboard will only ever show this level of detail when you first open it. You can, of course, change how close it's zoomed in or zoomed out, but if you want it automatically to show as this, then you can zoom in now and save. I want to have maybe a bit more of an overview, so I'm going to zoom out, and that will work for me, and I'll click Save. And once more, you'll see down below, your map has been created. Now, if I head on up, I'm going to create my last widget type, which is the budget widget. So I'll click on Add New Widget. We're going to add a category, Budget Data. And then for our widget title, we're going to say budget for our project and click Save. Finally, we're in the generator here. And now under Charts and Orientation, we're going to select what budget do we want to reflect. Do we want to show the overall budget for the project, or do we want to show an individual activity budget? So in this case, I just want to show the overall project budget. And again, you have the option here to either have this on a horizontal axis or on a vertical axis. So we'll keep it horizontal, and down below we can select the project source. And then you can have the option to show these values in different quantities. So you can have this shown in hundreds or thousands, hundreds of thousands or millions. So let's say thousands in this case. And we have a new option here to show the data label. So this will show the actual quantities, the actual numbers. So I'll remove that for this case and click Save. And then down below, you'll see that we have our budget. And you can see how much has been allocated to the budget and then how much has actually been spent already. Now we've generated one type of each widget. So now perhaps at this point you might want to change up the dashboard, maybe make it a bit neater, maybe change it up so it looks cleaner. So what I'll do is I'll make some adjustments. And one tip I have for you when it comes to making adjustments is to zoom out of your dashboard. So you can either use this via your browser or you can press Control minus and you'll have a more zoomed out view of your dashboard, as you can see here. And this will make it a lot easier for you to move about these different widgets. So let's say, for example, I want to maybe have the map data maybe more toward the bottom. So I'll move it down. I'll move up my budget up to here. I don't like the fact maybe that these widgets are bigger than my text and image widget here, so I might even expand that for a little bit more clarity. And I think I can expand these even further. I'll have my status here and I'll add my map there. So this is how you can move, change, and adjust the sizes to however you like it. I'm going to now zoom a bit back in. Now, let's say we want to apply a style or a different color to these project results. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to head over to the Styles tab under here. So if I click on there, here I'll have the option to choose a specific style or color. We are set currently on the Tola data colors, but if I want to change it, to another palette, maybe more my preferences, let's say I want to see what the fun palette scheme is. If I click on it, you'll get an overview of that here and the colors that it corresponds to according to the hex guidelines. And once I want that to be applied, I'll select Save. And then you'll see, as soon as I click Save and I return back to my dashboard, the colors have changed immediately. Now, where you configure this color is not actually going to be within the Style section, but it's actually going to be within the admin console. So if you're an admin console, you can head over to the admin console and under the styles section, you can add your company colors, and you can do this by using the hex color codes. There's also different international codes that you can use for color as well. And then once that's been created under the admin console, they can be applied by everyone here on this level. So that would be how you apply a style and how you can further customize it for the end viewer. Now, say for example, there's a lot of results that you need to display and you need some additional help. What you can do is you can head toward the team tab here and add different members of your team to come and help you. So by clicking this blue link, maybe I can ask Anya to come and work on this with me, maybe Aoife as well. And what I can do here is either I can leave them on the edit access role here, so they can still contribute, they can still add new widgets, move them around, but they can't delete the dashboard. They don't have the power over the dashboard. I can leave them on that level. But let's say, for example, maybe I want to pass this project on to one of my colleagues and I want them to have full control over this dashboard. Maybe I'll give Anya dashboard admin access so that she will have the full control over deleting this dashboard potentially at a future date. So that would be how I'd add my team. Now let's say we've done all the hard work, we've added all our different widgets, and now we just want to share this information with our team, with the rest of our team and the rest of the world. What we'll do is we're going to head to the Settings tab up here. And this is where we can either share this internally, so with our teams, or externally. Now to share it internally, what we'll be doing is we'll look toward the bottom here, where you can see that you can select specific users, projects, and use that tick box. The first option you can use is to share this with an individual user. So maybe you want to just share this dashboard that you've created personally with the manager, just to give them updates on how things are going. So you can click there and you'll see the names of everyone that belongs to this specific account. So maybe I'll share this with Anya. Under there, you have then select the project. So this allows you to share the project with a specific project team. So maybe you just want to share it with the wider team that is working on this project with you. So let's say since it was for the humanitarian health project, I'll just share it with that rest of the team. And then finally, if I don't want to share with individuals or a project team and it's a very general dashboard that I want everyone to see, I can select every user within Toladata. So that would be how you'd share internally. I might add that actually when you create a dashboard initially and you don't share it with anyone, only you can actually view it. No one can view it, not even the org level admin. This can be a private space for you to be able to put results together and to be able to view them by yourself. So the purpose of these sharing tools is just to enable you to have the control over who sees it. So that is how to share this data internally. And then when it comes to sharing this externally, what you can do is you can head up toward here, and if you see that toggle box here, if you click it, a new link will be generated here. And this is an unguessable link that can be shared externally with users, or people rather, that are not users of the Toladata platform. So they're not license holders. And these are often going to be your stakeholders. These are often going to be your donors. So what you'll do in order to share it with them is you're going to copy this link. And this can be shared in an email, could be shared via chat, whichever works for you. And so when they open up this link, they'll have a corkboard view essentially of what's on the dashboard. And at any time, if you feel like this dashboard maybe is old or outdated, you can cut off the access to the dashboard by clicking here. Or if you feel as though maybe the link has been passed on maybe too many times, you can generate a new public link, so then it reprivatizes itself. So people can only then view via the new link that you've created. Now, it's important also to say that when you've created a dashboard and you've created all your widgets, the dashboard updates automatically. So whenever you have any new changes or modifications that are made to your indicators, that will happen in real time, so that when you share this information with someone externally, when they view the dashboard, they will only see the newest bits of information. So you don't have to worry about continually going back, changing any graphics or dashboards or any widgets of any kind. That will be done automatically for you. So that is how essentially you can share these dashboards externally. And I believe that is an overview of the dashboard section. So now we're going to head back to the presentation over here. So I'm going to stop sharing for the moment. And if you want to have a refresher on what we've covered today, look at maybe some of the guides that we have, you can head over to Toladata /docs/knowledge base. And there you can have a look at all the very useful guides that we have on dashboards, including articles also on how to embed it into your website. So that would allow you to, in real time, again, share your results from your website on how your project is doing. And then finally, we have our Q&A section. We don't have a crazy amount of time, but I'll maybe leave 2-3 minutes for those of you that have questions, so you can feel free to go ahead and answer them, or I can answer them rather. So to do this, you go over to menti.com and you enter in the code that you see on your screen here. And once there, you just ask your question away, and I'll see if there's any, and I can respond to them in real time then. But if you have any questions that come up in your head or pop in your mind just after the session, don't worry at all. You can just send us an email directly through support@toladata.com, and we'd be happy to answer it there. So that's at support@toladata.com. So I'm just waiting for responses here. I hope you've enjoyed this session and you've enjoyed our series of feature focuses up until now. It's been really fun making them, and it's allowed us to see how our features are from a different perspective. So we have loved your feedback, we've loved your questions, and we hope that you continue contacting us with your questions in future as well. So I think we might be good for today. Again, feel free to leave any comments if you want, and be in touch, maybe even through LinkedIn, through our website, and let us know your feedback and your questions. So I hope you enjoyed today's session as much as I have, and best of luck if you are preparing for any reporting deadlines. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon in future feature focuses. So with that, have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye now.